Okay, going from a video that I didn't want to do, but I felt kind of compelled to do, and the topic I didn't like, I'm starting to start hating doing because it's getting kind of redundant for me, to a topic I do like wrestling, specifically Japanese pro wrestling. We are officially halfway through the 29th Best of the Super Juniors tournament in New Japan. And here's how the groups things are stacking up as we reach the finish line coming up next Friday in the Budokan. With only 6 more days to go, 5 super block days, 5 double block days, and and of course the grand final. In the A block, leading the pack are Ace Austin and Taiji Ishimori, the Impact X Division champ and IWGP Junior Heavyweight champion, respectively. Behind them, Alex Zane, Hiromu Takahashi, and Yo, each with 6. Clark Connors, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and Sho each have 4. And Taguchi and Francesco Akira pull up the rear at 2 in the A block. In the B block, we've pretty much got a similar setup. Mom just texted me that she found out I just punched my ticket to Animasement this weekend. Anyway, in the B block, leading the pack are El Desperado of Suzuki-gun and El Phantasmo of Bullet Club with 8 points each. Then it's Wheeler Yuta, Doki, and El Lindaman of AW, Suzuki-gun, and Glate, representing Strong Hearts, each with 6, respectively. Robbie Eagles and TJP and Bushi each have 4, and pulling up the rear are Teton and Master Water with 2. Going into day 9, the card is stacked up like this. Kicking it off, the B block match, Teton against Master Wato. These two guys have struggled throughout the tournament. Wato has been getting it from a fire hose. He's learning a lot of different things, but the problem is he's stretching himself thin and not focusing on one particular skill set. Teton, on the other hand, has been having issues with getting W's in his own right. The only win he's got is a W over TJP, where Wato's only win was an upset against Robbie Eagles. At 1-4, whoever loses this match mathematically has no shot of winning the BOSJ. And even if they do win, I think they're going to get eliminated anyway, given who both El Phantasmo and El Desperado have got on their plate. And at that point, all they could do is play spoiler. And since they can't play spoiler, since they both lost to both Phantasmo and Despy, their tournament is pretty much done unless Desperado and Phantasmo really stumble down the stretch. Unfortunately, I don't believe that's going to happen. Next up, Doki of Suzuki-gun against the United Empire's public enemy, TJP. This is a match where we're looking into a mirror. Two men who have no respect for their competition, but grudgingly admire each other. Doki does recognize TJP is a well-traveled veteran, as well as the experience of the lucha approach as part of his hybrid style. Respect or not, though, the opponents Del Mao and the public enemy badly want to get to 8-6, respectively. Right now, Doki has matched his personal best BOSJ total with 3 wins. If there's one thing that Doki has been with each of his 3 previous BOSJ appearances, It's that he's been consistently improving. He was 1-8 in his debut in 2019, his only win coming against a young lion. He got a win over Bushi and a young, that being Ren Narita in 2019. In 2020, he beat Yuya Uemura and Bushi to get 4 points, finishing 2-8, 2-7. And last year, he finished 3-8, getting wins over Yo, Bushi, and I believe Master Wado. I'll double check. Here we go. Doki. There it is. Lost to Eagles, Show, beat Yo, lost to Ishimori, Hiromu Taguchi. Yes, it was Bushi and Wado he beat in 2021. Really had to go back and double check. This year, he's beaten Bushi, El Lindemann, and El Phantasmo. Whoever put this in screwed up. Desperado has not faced Doki yet. He lost. He beat El Phantasmo. And another interesting factor with this year's tournament is that, unlike the past 2 years where we've had at least one guy be a workhorse, two guys be a workhorse, with matches that go over 20 minutes, some of them actually going over 25. This year, because it's back to the double block formula, so far that has not been the case. I know I'm getting off track. The longest match I've seen on this list was actually today's main event between Hiramu and Yo, 17 minutes and 57 seconds. So yeah, none of these matches have even hit the 20-minute plateau. Plateau hit 20 minutes yet. Interesting. Anyway, moving on to match 3, Clark Connors against Yoshinobu Kanemaru. Kanemaru is looking to get a win over the Wild Rhino, but I think the Wild Rhino is on to the tricks of Kanemaru. Both men sit at the bubble at 4. Kanemaru has pulled off back-to-back wins, basically stomping Hiramu in a way I didn't expect, and getting the predictable win over Ishimori, which I kind of prophesied would be the chink in Ishimori's run this year, losing to Kanemaru today yet again. Connors, on the other hand, started off slow, but a win over Taguchi and today's win over Francesco Akira have gotten him back on the saddle. Next up is another must-win match. Ryusuke Taguchi against the Sauce, Alex Zayne. Zayne may have lost in a hard-fought fight today against his quote-unquote bestie, Ace Austin, but he's earned a positive 6-point record as well as the support of the Japanese crowd. But now he's facing one of the most popular veterans. And let me just put it like this. Taguchi has been a pain in my ass with this tournament. He said at the press conference he would do none of the butt stuff. And what have we seen through the entirety of the tournament? Fucking ass crap! The same ass shit that we get out of this SOB year after year after year in this tournament. Taguchi, cut it down, or just stop it altogether. I'm begging you, Taguchi-san. No more ass shit. While many of your fans in the East find it funny, most in the West feel it come off as annoying. I am one of those people in the West who find your shtick annoying. I mean, me and the jerks at TwitWow, we don't see eye to eye on a lot of things. But one thing we do see eye to eye on, Taguchi, is you and your ass antics have got to fucking stop. You're 43 years old, damn it. You don't need to be going to such juvenile tactics. Act your fucking age, Taguchi. Anyway, this is a must win for Taguchi. He loses this match, he's out of the running. And personally, I'd be content if he's out of the running. Because then he wouldn't be able to play. All he could do is play spoiler. Moving on. Yo against Francesco Akira. After the hot start with the win over Show, Akira has fizzled out. He's on the bubble. If he loses, then Will Ospreay's faith in him was for naught. For Akira to even have a chance at winning the A block, he's got to win his remaining each of his remaining 4 matches, including a tiebreaker against IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champ Ishimori, including getting wins over both Taiji Ishimori and Francesco Akira, and hope that both Ishimori and Austin slip up down the stretch and lose, and each of them lose all their next 4, or at the very least 3 of their next 4, including one match, including the match Ace and Ishimori have against each other, and one of those 3 losses at minimum has to be against Francesco. Has to be against Francesco himself. If Yo beats him, or if any of those factors don't happen within the next few days, Akira's out. Wheeler Yuta against El Lindaman. Someone's going to go to 8 points between these two. It's Ring of Honor Pure Champion against GLEAT's G-Rex Champion. Technical refinement and street brawling going up against speed and compact power. That's the dynamic of this matchup. Technique against power. Who wins? I don't know. I'm not picking these. I'm just going over them. 7th match. Champion against champion. The Inevitable. Ace Austin, the Impact Wrestling X Division champ, versus the IWGP Junior Heavyweight champ, Bone Soldier Taiji Ishimori. Bad enough, Ishimori owes another title shot, owes a shot at the title to Kanemaru. Again! But losing to a man who's currently holding a title that Ishimori himself has worn, the X Division title, would be a bigger blow to Ishimori's ego. Remember, Ishimori's loss to Kanemaru today is the only reason guys like Taguchi and Akira are still alive, but barely. And you could say the same thing for Phantasmo's loss. To Doki the other night. That loss yesterday. That loss is the only reason that Master Wato and Teton are still alive. But again, barely alive. Live in the B block. Who wins this matchup is up in the air, but I do believe it'll be an even match. But if I'm Ace Austin, I would try to stay the course and try to keep Ishimori in the ring so he doesn't try to use the tactics he's been doing lately to set up for the bone lock. Bushi against Desperado. This is a match on paper that's been pretty even. Now, granted, though, both of Bushi's wins have come by DQ. Can Bushi spoil Desperado's near perfect 8 point run tomorrow night and it proved to be a significant speed bump on the road to the Budokan next Friday? I don't know. But what I do know is Bushi will pull out all the stops to beat the guy who has basically become the junior division's top dog in the post-pandemic era. Hiramu against Show. Let me put it like this. On paper, you'd think Hiramu would know every one of the House of Torture's tricks, given he got exposed to a lot of them against Evil back at Hyper Battle, and knows what Show's capable of. Having fallen victim to Show last time these two fought in the BOSJ. However, Hiramu's going in with an even bigger target. That left leg Kanemaru exploited last night and Yo took advantage of today in Korakuen is a big target. But will Show even bother going after it? The answer to that question to me is yes and no. Yes, because he will exploit it when he needs to, and no, because let's look at the modus operandi of Show. He's going to play dirty. So while on paper this would be an interesting matchup, maybe a toss up, this could be the match that that really does stop Hiramu's run to victory for the championship, for the BOSJ title, into his third straight BOSJ. That leg is going to be a target tomorrow for Show, and a damn big one. Finally, the main event, Robbie Eagles against El Phantasmo. El Phantasmo beat Robbie last year. 3 years ago, Phantasmo beat Eagles, and that was back when both were in Bullet Club. Much like last year, this year they're on opposite sides. Robbie Eagles representing Chaos, Phantasmo representing Bullet Club. And now Phantasmo is coming into this with a clear head. Last year, he was with the amount of division within Bullet Club as to who was running things, Jay White or God. And Phantasmo's little gimmick of basically trying to emulate the moves of leaders of Bullet Club past, never being able to hit the one-winged angel on any of his opponents. Phantasmo is now going back to his old bag of tricks. Now, keep in mind, it was Robbie who exposed Sudden Death's the fact that Sudden Death, that Phantasmo had rigged his Sudden Death super kick by loading a hunk of metal in his boot at Wrestle Kingdom 16 during the three-way tag match, back when Robbie co-held the IWGP Junior Tag titles with Tiger Mask 4. And Phantasmo has not forgotten or forgiven Robbie for doing that. So I think Robbie is going to get sudden death to the mush. Hunk of metal inside it or no. Loaded boot or not. Boot being loaded, be damned. How do I think things will turn out? Connors will go to 6. Akira will go to 4 to keep himself alive. Ishimori will go to 10. Zayn will go to 8. And I do believe Show will go to 6 in the A block. In the B block, I'm going to say Wado goes to 4, eliminating Teton mathematically. TJP will go to 6. Tossed up between Yuta and Lindemann. Now, you're wondering, but Mets, you weren't tossed up with the Ishimori Ace Austin pick. Why are you tossed up with this one? Well, it's a much more even matchup in this case. Yuta is heads. Lindemann, tails. I need to do this more frequently straight in the air. We're not going to count that flip. Recap. Yuta heads, Lindemann tails. Lindemann. Yuta it is. Yeah, I need to get rid of this piggy bank at some point. Okay, so Yuta goes to 8. And I'll have Despy and Phantasmo go to 10, which would mathematically knock Robbie Eagles, Teton, and Master Wado out of the running. And Master Wado out of the running. Would I be surprised if Bushi goes to 6? No, I wouldn't be, to be honest. But here's the thing that makes me believe that both Despy and ELP are going to go to 10. They're not in a matchup against each other. That is much further down the line for those two. Let me see when they face each other, according to the schedule. When those two go at each other according to the schedule, at least that what's left on it. Let's see. They go after each other in Chiba. Let's see. Kamaru against Akira. Connors against Ishimori. That's going to knock Connors out of the running. Bushi against Titan. Yo against Taguchi. Austin against Show. Okay, Saturday in Chiba. Phantasmo's got TJP. Despy's in the main event against Doki. 29th in Oda. No, Phantasmo has got Wheeler Yuta. Eagles is facing Desperado, which means those two will face each other probably in the B block main event in Toyama on Tuesday. And remember, while the matches on the Toyama card are determined by what's left on the block schedule, where they place on the card is determined by where everyone is in the block. So, at this point, if the BOSJ were to end today, here's how they'd be set up. Out first would be Master Wado against Doki, Robbie Eagles against Titan, Taguchi against Kanemaru, Clark Connors against Alex Zane, Ace Austin against Francesco Akira, Bushi versus El Lindemann, Wheeler Yuta versus TJP, and that's if he still has a shot to win the tournament. And I'm referring to Wheeler. Ishimori against Hiramu, Show against Yo, and the main event, Desperado against Phantasmo. With the way the standings in the blocks are set up right now, that's how I believe the Toyama card would be structured on Tuesday. I mean, this coming Tuesday. That's how I view it would pan out in the end. Leave a comment, smash a like, sub to the channel. Till then, Mets 2128 signing out. Goodbye and good night. Bang.